what is the no contact rule, right? It's a set period of time where you cut ties with somebody you honestly are addicted to, basically, right? That you love. And what does this mean? This means you're not checking social media, you're not texting them, you're not calling them, you're not emailing them, you're not asking their friends about what they're up to. um, it's the love version of going cold turkey on somebody, right? And what does this allow somebody to do? Well, you are creating space for uninterrupted reflection and this to get clarity so that you can move on in peace. It's hard to move on from somebody when they are basically, confusing you, sending you messages, and you know for yourself that you are done, that the relationship with them is too painful. And I want to share a personal story. I broke up with a guy because it was getting to that point for me. And at that time, like, I didn't hate him or anything. I just needed space, right? I didn't write him off forever. I knew that eventually, probably, we might be friends again. But in this moment in time, I really did not want any contact from him because things were hurting too much. And I know that, giving the space was going to be the best chance if we were ever even going to be cordial and friends again. All right, so let's get into when do you use it? Well, I think the first reason to use is if if they have asked or stopped responding to you altogether, right? I know this freaking sucks, but silence is an unspoken boundary. If someone is not, of course, I think they understand that you're going to text once or twice, but when you are repeatedly texting them and they haven't responded to you in, maybe a week or a month, it's time to stop because it's making them uncomfortable and they're not even having the, um, how do I say this? They don't have enough comfort to tell you to stop. So, to prevent further damage, you've just got to deal with it by going silent. Um, Another situation that you might use no contact in is if they're already in another relationship or if they've moved on, right? We've all been there. We don't like it when someone is hanging around, especially an ex, when, we are in a relationship with someone. So you have to be the better guy and just practice common sense, right? Um, Now, the third scenario in which you are completely fine to use the no contact rule is if you're 1000% sure without a doubt that you have no desire for them to come back, maybe even as friends, because everything is just too painful. So, in those cases, yes, definitely use the no contact rule because that's what it's intended for. But what do I notice in the dating and relationship space right now? Is a lot of people are using it to get their exes back, using the no contact rule as a strategy to spark interest from their ex, right? It's being used to kind of win them back. It's giving them the silent treatment so that, you know, it shakes things up in your ex's core. And while you're giving them this silent treatment, you're hoping that they will change your mind or they will change their mind. And, to a certain extent, I see how that works. And even if it's successful, I want to encourage you to think about if it's success for long term or if it's just a band aid solution, right? You'll never feel like confident that the relationship is going to be successful because it's meant to be successful, or if he or she came back out of fear, out of loneliness, and there may even be a chance that none of the issues that were presented are even gone away now, right? Because they didn't change. You haven't had the opportunity to really change during this period of no contact. So could these problems arise again? And my firm belief is yes. It's You didn't really resolve the issue. You just use a temporary silent treatment tactic to bring them back. And that does not set people up for success, in my opinion. In my experience, there are three types of people that consider no contact. The first I've already covered, which if you are in the camp of being abused, physically, mentally, emotionally, and or this person causes you to abuse yourself, like this is the solution for you. I support it 1,000%. Now, the second group of people is what I like to call the anxiously at risk, right? These are people who are still clinging on to the idea of, oh my God, we had such strong chemistry. Our history is just so good. The sex was amazing, and I really need to get them back. Now, what you end up doing in this scenario, because I've done it too, which is like I write them love letters, I'm begging them to come back, I'm just doing grand gestures because I can't deal with the anxiety of losing them. Suddenly, they are way more important than anything that's going on in my life. And it's, in hindsight, it feels like, you're the one fighting and you're pouring all of your love in, but you don't stop to think like, okay, is this person in a space to even receive all the love I'm giving, right? It's not the appropriate time, basically, to do that. So the second group then is, if the anxious didn't work, what I tend to notice people go into is the prideful punisher, right? It's I feel so fucking disrespected that he or she even thought that they can break up with me. I don't need them. I like cut them off, right? Like this air of just like fuck them attitude. But underneath all that is just a lot of fear, just a lot of anger, and there's a lot of desperation, right? How many of you have hoped to get a reaction out of declaring no contact, right? It's like, oh, I'll just say no contact. But secretly, deep down, you're hoping to rise a reaction out of them. Like, can't you see how frustrated I am that I have to pull out this unnecessary thing? And then, of course, they don't end up, negotiating with you. They're like, okay, sure, whatever you need, take all the time you need in the world. And you just end up feeling kind of stupid. Like, okay, what was the whole point of that? Now I have to follow through with this thing. All right, next we'll get into why I think it's dangerous. This is really dangerous rule to implement, especially if you want a second chance, but you're forcing to go on with disconnection, right? You're causing internal conflict already. You want connection, but you are asking for um, a chance at disconnection. Now, if you've made the decision they're toxic and you don't want anything to do with them, perfect, ask for that disconnection. But if you're not ready, then what ends up happening is you ask for this moment of disconnection, and you don't even have any plan for how you're going to use that time for disconnection, and we'll get into that. But the first thing that happens is, all right, I've asked for no contact or they've asked for no contact. What do I do with this? Well, the first thing people end up doing is they still are mentally chasing and obsessing over the person because you're checking their socials. You are looking for photos of them, through their friends' socials, through their granny social, and you're stalking them because you just want to know what they're up to. And you might even be hanging out at places that you know that they'll hang out at, just to have the opportunity to bump into them. You may be driving by their house, and it's putting you into this over functioning, overthinking, overdriving. And you know what you're doing is counterproductive to moving on. And there's a lot of shame and regret that happens right now where you're going, man, I can't even do this no contact thing. Like, I'm a loser. I hate that feeling. And then what happens then is you escalate to a prolonged fantasy of their return. You start to think to yourself, oh my God, they must be so special. Like, why can't I let go of them? Did I make a mistake? Should I have tried harder? Um, and then you're just stuck in this mental loop of, okay, maybe they'll call in a week. And then the next week comes, maybe they'll call the week after. Maybe I just need to give them more time. What will I say when they call? You're fantasizing about, their return. Then that leaves you to the third box, which is you begin to freeze in time. You're not open to dating others. You're not even working on the thing that led to the breakup. So maybe it's that you're relying too much on them for financial support. But are you using this time of no contact to actually go find a job? Maybe, pick up a side hustle? No, most likely not, right? Because you're spending all that time stuck waiting on dissecting if they'll return, what went wrong in the relationship, and you're just frozen and you're waiting for closure, right? What you're waiting for the no contact period to end so that you can just get that closure, and it fucking sucks. But the reality is you cannot be waiting for permission from somebody else to move on with your life. All right, coach, I get you. What should I do? Right? What can I do other than asking for no contact? I'd like to recommend that you learn how to draw boundaries. And the reason why I'm asking you to do this is, one, it gives you time to protect yourself from getting more attached to the situation, and to go in circles, right? I don't want you to get in more circles because you don't have any boundaries. But two, it's to really leave the door open so that the communication line is always there if needed when you're ready, and that there is no animosity between the two of you. And so, what does this look like? The three common scenarios that I notice that require boundaries are: number one, they are still asking for relationship benefits even after the breakup. So what can this look like? This can look like, a booty call, a Netflix and chill. And I'm not against you actually sleeping with your ex as long as you don't get ahead and have expectations that they're not going to date other people or that you guys are going to get back together. Right? We are humans, we have needs. So if you want to get a little booty, go ahead, but just know and check in with yourself. Is this going to spiral me into thinking we're going to get back together? And if it is, then this might not be a good idea, right? There's plenty of people for you to have sex with. Just get on Tinder. It's very easy. Um, you don't need to be just hooked on phonics with your ex. I don't know why that terminology came to me. Anyways, what you can say is, hey, I'm still grieving the loss of our relationship. I need some space to myself. Can I reach out to you when I'm ready? I'm not really in the mood to be physically intimate with you at the moment. Just say that. The second scenario is if they are pretending to be buddy buddy, right? Maybe they're not suggesting sexual intimacy, but they're still talking to you about their day, going on conversationally as if nothing has happened. Well, if you're not ready for this daily contact and it's making you feel anxious, then you need to draw a boundary here. Say something along the lines of, hey, I'm really glad that you feel so comfortable around me and that you are ready to be friends, but I'm not there yet. I need more time to process what's going on with me. Um, and while I love to respond to you as if everything is okay, I just need more time. So my responses will be slow for a while. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with me trying to work on my emotions. Now, the third group or situation that I find so effing irritating is the inconsistent or painful one off messages. Okay, it's when they get drunk or they're at a bar that you guys used to hang out at and they text you that one thing of, hey, I miss you, I miss us, and you're just going WTF because now you're spending 1 whole hour or 2 whole days trying to decipher what does this mean. Do they want me back, do they not want me back? So just cut out all that. Okay, I want you to just say, hey, thanks for letting me know, I miss us too, but I don't want to keep receiving messages that have mixed signals attached to them. Occasional pleasantries between us are okay, but unless you are ready to discuss reconciling, I prefer not to receive these messages. And boundaries are really important because then you get to see if a person is willing to listen to your needs or not. But it also gives you a chance to understand what your own needs are. Now, I do want to say one thing. There's a lot of sentiment on the internet that try to paint the ex as this evil person who's trying to take your power away, who's devaluing you, who is just malicious and is out to take advantage of you and get away with whatever they can get away with. I want to challenge that for a bit because breakups can be devastating for both people, including the person who broke up with you. They may feel like they made a mistake too from time to time. They're humans. Just because they broke up, that doesn't mean they have all the answers right now. They're also grieving and going through their pain process. And both of you are in this sensitive time together. So I would just really encourage you to try to take your pain out of the equation and try to understand like what may be what they may be going through as well, because they don't know. They're just doing what they think is the right decision for them at this moment in time. And it sucks that breaking up with you is what they think is the best, but you also have a personal responsibility to do what's best for you, right? Because you've also probably have, not wanting to be in connection with somebody too. So just take the mirror to yourself and don't get so caught up in demonizing your ex. Of course, unless they were absolutely toxic. But again, no contact is not a one size fit all breakup solution. So while you're in this no contact, or, when you are slowing down a lot of the contact, I want you to spend some time asking yourself these questions, which is, do I like the version of them today? You can't negotiate with the fact that people change over time. They may not be the person that you fell in love with. They could have different needs. And you have to ask, do I like who they are today? And do I like who I am when I am with them today? And see what you find out. Maybe you will discover that, okay, you know what? I'm not really liking how they talk to me in the last couple of months or a couple of weeks, and it doesn't make me feel good. Or maybe you find that, you know what, I do. We still share some of the same goals, things we want. right? You just want to get some clarity around this question. Now, the second question I would ask is, do I actually like them, or am I sad over what we could have been? You know, when we get into relationships, we tend to make up these fantasies. We're going to get married. This is the type of wedding I want to have. We're going to move in. We have this timeline. And when we go through a breakup, it's not only losing the person, but it's also losing the fantasy of what could have been. And get some clarity around this. Is the pain worse because they're gone, or is the pain of not having that future you were hoping for worse? And the third question I would ask is, can you or them make changes? And do you understand what led to the breakup? What I mean is, are the things they were asking for too much? Or are they a non-negotiable for you? You know, think about how you can take accountability forward. Can I really, let's say, for example, they were asking for you to call them 5 times a week. This is what they really need. Well, ask yourself, can I truly deliver that? And be realistic. If it's not, then there's a very high chance that you guys have incompatible communication needs. So really go back to the moment of the breakup and try to understand, all right, what were they needing, or what was I doing wrong? And can I actually take accountability and change? And at this point, I just want you to ask this as, you as a whole person. Is this the type of person I want to be in the relationship, whether it's with my ex or with somebody else, right? Can I call somebody 5 nights a week? And if it's a yes, then, how will I do that? Come up with a plan, right? But if it's a no, then this gives you greater clarity on you know, if this relationship was going to even work in the long run. Now, common questions that I get asked on when people are considering breaking no contact is, should I reach out on their birthday or a special occasion? And I'm going to tell you, as a person who's been on the receiving end of an ex popping back up on my birthday, fuck no. Please don't do this, because you are coming off really opportunistic and really selfish, actually, by making using their special occasion as a way to re-enter, right? Make your grand entrance back into their life. This might not be received very well. I know that you mean well, right? And you're trying to be nice, but there's also this like little icky desire of, oh, okay, this is the point when I'm going to do it. And it just gives me the ick. Now, I think, will your ex appreciate it? Sure. But then how you navigate the contact after that also is really important. Because if you just wish them happy birthday and then go into demanding answers about the relationship, it's going to come off really, really bad. Another question that I get asked is, how long should I wait before going no contact? And I'd like to say that for this one, this really depends on how badly you behaved during the breakup. Now, I recommend a 21-day kind of low or slow contact, right? Where you're not really declaring, oh my God, we need to go no contact. Don't do any of that. You just kind of go silent. And if they want to text you, text something, text a boundary back. But you want to be taking at least 21 days to reflect on everything that happened leading up to the breakup. And then add 1 week for every cringe thing that you did during the breakup. So whether it was you showing up at their house, showing up at work, trying to have the conversation over and over again, double texting, writing letters. Ooh, 1 second. Okay, so double texting, whatever. Add 1 week. So 21 days initially, and then add additional, because the more stressed out you made your ex, the longer time you'll need. And then the third question is, am I losing my self-respect? Well, this is for you to decide. No one can determine this for you. I personally don't like to bargain for love with pride. There's a very high chance that you may not get a response at all. And take a moment to sit inside yourself and ask, am I ready to deal with the pain that comes with them not responding? Because you will be going into your head a lot and saying, you're a loser. Why did you do that? And that embarrassment can then, send you down a spiral that you just don't need to go on. So if you need more time to give up or to build up the mental stability and strength to handle the potential rejection, then take that extra time. Because when we contact our ex, we want to do it without attaching an outcome and being completely resilient to the fact that they may not respond. All right. So, in summary, you don't have to declare no contact with someone. You can just quietly stay silent if you want to remain friends with them or keep the door open for reconnection later down the line. And when you are communicating with them, I want you to use boundaries to express what you want and what you don't want and observe their response to see if they are respectful or if they are actually trying to take advantage of you. And third, decide if you are sad over their loss or over a fantasy of a future with them. And be really, really honest with yourself. A lot of people try to get their ex back because they are not comfortable sitting with the anxiety of rejection. They don't want their ex back because they actually love the ex. They just don't want to feel the pain that is present with the rejection. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's not fair to your ex. If you don't actually love them, but you just want them to make yourself comfortable, it's really selfish. So, unless you are sincerely, truly mourning the loss of them and see your own contributions to the breakup, I would consider leaving room until you're sure that they're the one for you before you make a plan to make contact with them again. All right, that's all I have for you today. Hopefully, this helped a lot of you. If you have any questions, please reach out to me on Instagram. I am happy to answer and have a wonderful day.